Hey YouTube, it is the last week of the Pokemon Go season, and with that, the GBL season. We have 3 leagues on, and unfortunately for most people, leagues that are going to be very tough to play. So it is the Open, Ultra League, and Match League, which is great for just those who like just the higher leagues. But if you want to play a great league, your only option is Catch Cup. And Catch Cup, for those of you who do not know, limits you to Pokemon caught during the season. So Pokemon that are 1500 CP or below, only Pokemon caught during the Tales of Transformation season are eligible, and that season is September 2nd to December 2nd, so in the future here by 1 week. So basically, only Pokemon that you have caught and built up in the past 2.5 months are eligible. And what that does with the meta is a couple things. So the first is you need to figure out what is the meta. And there are no rankings for it. You just have to look at the Open Great League because there's a one is I just in general pretty tricky to just go through the last 3 months and be like, okay, what are the raids? What are the Dynamax? What are the events? And we had the big the November event there, and we have all these other events during the season. So like, what Pokemon are available? But it's not only that; it's people can stack tasks in their like task area and stack up to 100 tasks. So if you stacked a task from 6, 9, 12 months ago and it's sitting in your tasks and you choose to go through your task and catch one now, it will be eligible for the cup because you caught it during that time. So you can't really assume that some Pokemon will not be in it because you never know what's going to be in it. The general assumption is assume pretty much every Pokemon is going to be available. Maybe you can pinpoint the legendaries that because of the events that were not available over the last 3 months that did not come from taskings or legendary raids. So you can take out a few legendaries. Not that there's many legendaries in the top like 20 rankings anyways. And then another thing you can do is not get rid of the Pokemon, but get rid of the shadows. You can also sort of pinpoint the shadows a little better over the past 3 months. I don't think every shadow has been available the last few months, so you may see less shadow Pokemon. But in general, you'll see every single one of these Pokemon: Cresselia, Cordeli, Gastrodon, Azumarill, Marowak, Stunfisk, Bastiodon, Dusknoir, Altaria, Dragonair, like Corviknight. These Pokemon are all definitely available over the past 3 months in some form here. So you have to treat it like it's an open great league. Which leads me to the next point. Should you play this league? And should you invest in these Pokemon? So for example, I have been playing since season 1. I have 350 to 400 Pokemon built up for Great League, double moved. I have made probably 60 million dust playing GBL, and I've probably dropped 75 million dust into my GBL Pokemon. If I wanted to hit it, had I not hit Legend yesterday, let's put it that way. I hit Legend yesterday, my 20th Legend video yesterday, if you want to see that. If I had not hit Legend, would I invest the dust and candies to build up more Pokemon? Yes, because I believe that if you are trying to hit Legend, if you are willing to build up 3 very meta Pokemon, you will have an advantage. I would say 80% of the players that you're going to see in this meta will just be using Pokemon that they built up for this season anyways. So you're going to see a lot of meta teams, but there will be some 20% that are either throwing games and just getting the dust, or playing with like 2 or 3 Pokemon that were like they caught that were like already at the 1485 CP range, and they can use it with like one move. Maybe it's like a fast move damage Pokemon with one move. They can get away without wasting a lot of dust and candies and TMs and stuff. So if you have the ability to invest in these Pokemon, you will have a distinct advantage over the last week of the season. Now, if you've already hit Legend like I have, or let's say you're at like 2,500 or below and you really do not think you're going to hit Legend, is it worth investing all that dust? Now, my guess would be, I'm leaning towards no. And the reason I say that is, even if you're lucky and you have a bunch of these Pokemon already close to 1,500 CP and the dust and candies to get there is minimal, and if you don't second move these Pokemon, it puts you at a disadvantage in general. So if you're going to start dumping 50,000 into every Pokemon for a second move, At minimum, you're looking at 150,000 dust. Maybe you're starting to get towards 200, 250,000, depending on if you build up. The season turns over in a week. We have an interlude season next season, pretty much guaranteed, where you will get your Pika Libre at rank 20, and you will get it within 2 to 3 weeks, and it will take no effort and no Pokemon to build up or anything to get. At the same time, we may or may not get move updates. It's been leaked that there will be move updates, so we don't even know if some of these Pokemon will be meta relevant anymore when we actually do get back to like a non-interlude season in 3 months from now. So am I building anything up for this? No. If you see me anywhere between 3,040, I'm at 3,040 right now, you're probably going to get some free wins out of me because I'm probably just using whatever I have. I still don't have my Pika Libre for this season, so I may have to try hard at least one set to get my Pika Libre. But other than that, I think if I just play with whatever I have and get the maybe 1 win, maybe 0 wins, and just get that dust, free dust without investing, I think that's going to be a win for me. And I think you're going to get some people that do that as well. So that's just sort of the analysis behind the season of whether you should play this last week. Again, if I was anywhere between 2,700 and now, I would invest to try and hit legend. But that is just mine. You need to make the decision. I also have 14 million dust, so it's a little easier for me. But let's go over some of the teams that you want to potentially use to hit legend if you can get there. And this is, again, it was Shadow Scizor around this past 3 months. I don't know. I'm not sure. But the team that I used that got me from 2,500 to 2,960, so a huge push was this team. Goodra, Dusclops, Scizor. Very straightforward. Scizor is only weak to fire. Goodra as a dragon resists fire, and it has a lot of other good resistances in the meta. It resists water, it resists electric, it resists grass. So dragon, a really, really nice Pokemon typing for this meta. Weak to ice and fairy, and obviously Scizor as the steel will deal with those. So you got a balanced team. You have Dusclops as your safe swap. Goodra is a very, very strong Pokemon. It's got some bulk, and it's got the spam. That Dragon Breath rework really makes it spam these Aqua Tail, Thunder Punch, really put pressure on your opponents. The Dusclops doesn't hit hard, but 9996 for the punch, Shadow Punch is fantastic. And then Scizor with that Bullet Punch really putting on a lot of fast move damage pressure, which you can boost that attack with Trailblaze. It does need shields, which is why the Goodra Dusclops is also a fantastic combo because they are bulky and can just take some charge moves. So a couple other ideas of teams that people had submitted over the time, and maybe one was mine, but most of these are submitted. Goodra, Jirachi, Charizard, same sort of concept. Goodra is an extremely strong Pokemon for the reasons I just mentioned. Ice and Fairy, like I just said, are the weaknesses. Charizard as a fire Pokemon using a Ember as the fast move is great. Really, there's only 2 fire Pokemon you should be using in this meta right now, and it's Talonflame and Charizard. I really don't think Typhlosion and Ninetales has some play with that Ember rework, but for the most part, Ember, Charizard, and Incinerate, Talonflame are, I think, the main go-to fire Pokemon that are very, very strong in this meta and do have a lot of play, and Goodra, Charizard counters each other's weaknesses, again, rock and ice and stuff. So Charizard is double weak to rock. Goodra does not resist rock, has an Aqua Tail for rock, but that's where the safe swap of Jirachi comes in. It is a steel, so it resists rock. It also has the Confusion, which got buffed. It has access to Aura Sphere, which covers your steels and darks where Confusion is resisted. You have Doom Desire to deal with some fairies and ice. So overall, a pretty kind of sneaky Pokemon for safe swap, one that is not often used. Pharaoh Carbing, speak about a Pokemon that just kind of rose this season. That is Pharaoh. Same sort of thing, weak to ice and electric. You have Carbink, which will deal with the ice, and then just so much bulk in the back, right? Pharaoh, when I did the Beyond the Hype about it, it was a very weird one where it's like, it kind of sucks in like the 0 and 2 shield. It's great in the 1 shield. It's great with like a certain amount of energy. It's bad in the 1 shield. It's great in the 1 shield with like 1 peck advantage, and then when you start using shield advantage, it becomes dominant. So it's one of those Pokemon that can really cause you problems if you just cause the opponent problems if you like over shield and use it how it should be used. But you're gonna need shields for that. So having Dusclops, Carbink in the back that are just insanely bulky Pokemon can give you some coverage and just allow Pharaoh to kind of run for a bit there is great. Plus Carbank's one of the biggest problems is going to be ground, and Pharaoh as a flyer will beat the ground. This one's mine for sure. Talonflame, Credilli, and Scizor. I use this as basically a balanced team. Scizor only weak to fire. There's only a few fires in the meta, and Talonflame is, like I said, one of the best ones. The Shadow Talonflame plays a million times better than the non-Shadow, in my opinion, just because those Incinerates do so much, and then you run it with Flame Charge, and being able to boost that Incinerate damage, you could take what are generally crappy matchups against, like, I'm blanking on the mouse, the electric mouse there. But you can take bad matchups against like electric Pokemon and basically Incinerate, Flame Charge your way through and take it to the 2 shield and put them at like a couple HP. So what were bad matchups turn into like decent Dedenne. There it is. Decent matchups. So that's what the sort of power of Shadow Talonflame can do there. And then Credilli is your safe swap just with that Acid. You can run it with Boltsy too, but I think Acid is generally better. And then one more balanced teams, Marowak and Charjabug. Charjabug is kind of an interesting one. It's going to have its biggest problem to like Clodsire, which is where Marowak comes in, and even Dusclops come in, but Marowak in particular. Marowak's going to have problems with flyers, and that's where Charjabug comes in. So, and again, another balanced team which covers each other's weaknesses. Gastrodon is surprisingly not bad at all for Charjabug. The X Scissors come pretty quick. The Volt Switch is only single resisted, and the X Scissor Volt Switch combo basically does like 45-50%. So you can actually hang in that matchup very, very well with the Gastrodon. So Charjabug with its bulk and with its moveset can actually put up quite good matchups against what should be considered not good matchups. There's obviously going to be like Steelix and Clodsire, which are just going to get killed, which is why you need Marowak in the back to deal with those Pokemon, and Dusclops as a safe swap to try and flip switch that can also deal with those Pokemon. So if you're going to play this week, good luck. Like I said, you may see me, but do not expect many good Pokemon on my team. Maybe I built a couple up this season. Maybe not. I don't know. The good news is we're expecting the announcement today. They posted the trailer teaser yesterday for Pokemon Go, which means that they not always, but they usually within the next 24 hours upload the season information. I will thankfully be home tomorrow, working from home tomorrow, and then in the office the next day. So if they do drop the news today, sometime in the next 3-4 hours here, I will basically shoot a very, very quick video giving you quick highlights of, okay, on first look, here's the season, this is what's important, here's the meta, here's the changes to the moves or no changes, and this is what it means for next season, and so on and so forth. And then we'll do sort of an in-depth analysis for Wednesday. If we do get the move updates, I already saw Mark going through in my Discord. It's kind of, he always has he's got like the coded copy of pvpoke, and he can make updates himself. So I've already seen him go through and post some of what is potential changes based on the leaked graphic. So we will see. News will come today, and then we'll try to take a look at the sort of new rankings and new meta and what should rise and what should fall and the reasons why, and do a big in-depth analysis beyond the hype style for Wednesday, pending the news drops today sometime. Anyways, that is it. If you want to see my legend run, go check out yesterday's video. I also go over some important discussions about when do you scrap a team versus when do you keep running with it if you think it's strong, and how I hit legend despite having my worst win percentage in what season am I? 24, 25? This is my worst win percentage season since it started, and I kind of go over why it's my worst season percentage. I did not, one thing I did not mention in the video that I'll mention here now, even though it was my worst win percentage, and I'm talking like I had a 51% win percentage when normally my win percentage is like 55%. 4% doesn't sound like a lot, but it is when you're playing that many battles. One of the main reasons that I had my worst win percentage and I still was able to win was because I did what you needed to do and clutched up a lot of 5-0s and 4-1s and minimized my 0-5 and 1-4s. So I had a crap ton of 2-3 losses. So my win percentage was low, 40%. But when you offset like 10 2-3s with a couple 5-0s and 4-1s, you automatically just negate all those losses and you will gain elo. Whereas last season, what happened was I had like a 55% win percentage, but it was a lot of 3-2 wins followed by 0-5 wins. So I'd go like 3-2-4 in a row and then go like 0-5 on my fifth set and lose elo on the day. Whereas I did the reverse today, which is what you need to do. You need to minimize your losses and maximize the wins, like the ratios for the sets to really be able to gain elo. But that's a whole matchmaking issue. That's a whole rating scale issue, and that is something that we'll maybe talk about in like a Dan talk later on next season if we do have an interlude season. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.